Walk into almost any modern office, and you'll see people locked in a constant, frantic juggle. We are bouncing between glowing screens, answering instant messages, sitting through endless meetings, and managing a flood of emails. But this constant activity is actively destroying our ability to perform what computer scientist Cal Newport calls deep work. These are professional activities performed in a state of distraction-free concentration. This is the kind of focus that pushes your cognitive capabilities to their absolute limit, creating new value and improving your skills. On the other end of the spectrum is shallow work. These are the non-cognitively demanding, logistical tasks we perform while distracted, the kind of work that's easy to replicate and rarely creates new value. This diagram shows how a knowledge worker's week is actually divided. According to a McKinsey study, the average worker spends more than 60% of their week engaged in electronic communication and internet searching. Only a tiny fraction is left over for actual, uninterrupted thought. We operate in an information economy that highly rewards the complex problem-solving of deep work. Yet, as a working culture, we dedicate the vast majority of our hours to shallow tasks. If fragmented attention degrades our performance, why do modern corporations embrace open floor plans and expect constant connectivity? During the industrial age, productivity was easy to measure. You could stand on a factory floor with a stopwatch and count the exact number of physical widgets a worker produced over a specific shift. Extracting value from information is much messier. In modern knowledge work, it is objectively difficult to calculate the exact marginal contribution of an individual employee to a firm's bottom line. Because the true cost of an interrupted workforce is so difficult to measure, it falls into what Newport calls the metric black hole. Companies ignore the massive financial drain of constant distraction simply because they can't put a precise number on it. Without clear goals to demonstrate their worth, employees look backward to the industrial era. They adopt visible busyness as a proxy for productivity. Answering late-night emails, jumping into rapid chat threads, and sitting in constant meetings all serve as public evidence that you are working hard. This frantic pace provides a psychological shield against the vague imperatives and ambiguity of modern knowledge work. It effectively turns highly trained specialists into human network routers. You know the visceral feeling. You reach the end of an exhausting 8-hour day, yet you haven't made progress on a single important project. Your energy is completely depleted by a roil of shallow communications. This diagram illustrates a cognitive phenomenon called attention residue. When you are focused on a primary task and suddenly switch to an interruption, your attention doesn't fully follow you. If you pause a complex project to quickly check a team chat, a portion of your brain remains stuck thinking about that secondary message. When you try to return to your main project, your focus is divided. Darting back and forth between a spreadsheet, an email inbox, and a meeting slathers this residue thick across your brain. Your biological cognitive capacity drops, leading to significantly poorer performance on everything you touch. The software company 37 Signals tested the necessity of this shallow switching by cutting their standard work week down to 4 days. Output didn't drop. Instead, the tighter time constraints squeezed the fat out of their corporate culture. With fewer hours available, employees naturally abandoned the trivial, shallow interruptions that didn't actually matter. This constant fragmentation consumes our workday with triviales, actively eroding the neural circuits required for deep, valuable thought. Our brains are plastic, adapting to the environments we provide them. Journalist Nicholas Carr observed that the constant fragmentation of the internet was chipping away his capacity for contemplation. If you train your mind to thrive on frenetic shallowness, you gradually lose the biological ability to remain focused on a single complex task. This chart maps out what economists call the Great Restructuring. As AI and automation race ahead, the market value of easily replicable shallow tasks is plummeting. Meanwhile, the demand and financial reward for complex, deep skills is skyrocketing. To thrive in this new economy, you have to quickly master hard things and produce at an elite level. Neither of these can be accomplished if you spend your days waiting in the shallows. Protecting your cognitive capacity requires a ruthless redesign of how you interact with your daily schedule. One strategy is to establish a shallow work budget, a specific agreement you negotiate with your manager or with yourself. You determine exactly what percentage of your week should be spent on logistical tasks. capping it strictly between 30 to 50%. By containing the shallow work, you mathematically protect large blocks of time for deep concentration. Some shallow communication will always be a part of your job, but to survive the modern information economy, you have to reject the role of a distracted network router and fiercely protect your ability to go deep.